On the dark and rainy night of October 24, 1942, during the Battle for Henderson Field, a regiment of about 3,000 battle-hardened and determined Japanese soldiers from the Imperial Japanese Army's Sendai Division, using machine guns, rifles, grenades, and mortars, launched a ferocious assault against the tightly defended positions in the deep jungles of the Lunga area held by the outnumbered American forces. For the next 2 days and nights, these highly contested positions held by a few units of the 1st Marine Division would be ferociously assaulted by an onslaught of Japanese forces determined to kill American soldiers. During the next 2 long nights, amongst the overwhelming rifle and heavy caliber fire, one Marine, would stick out amongst the rest and answer the call of heroism. Using only his 1917 Brown belt-fed machine gun and his Colt 1917 pistol, he was able to hold his defensive positions for the next 2 nights. As the fighting slowly started to cease and the smoke from the gun slowly dissipated in the air, more friendly reinforcements started to pour in to help the exhausted defenders. As these reinforcements started to slowly make their way deeper into the thick jungle, they had come to a baffling discovery. In front of them were rows and rows of dead Japanese soldiers scattered opposite the machine gun position, being virtually annihilated, with one particular Marine left standing. This is the true and amazing story of Gunnery Sergeant John Basilone. When we think about certain individuals and heroes of the Second World War, none rings louder yet quieter than Gunnery Sergeant John Basilone and his heroic actions performed on that fateful night of October 24, 1942. During the Battle of Guadalcanal in the Pacific Theater. Born on November 4, 1916, the parents of Salvatore and Dora Basilone in Buffalo, New York, John would be the 6th child to attend in his family. In 1918, the Basilone family would eventually move to the Ratian, New Jersey, 1 hour away from New York, where John would eventually grow up and attend St. Bernard School. After completing middle school at the age of 15, John would drop out prior to attending high school, where he would end up working as a golf caddy at the local country club for a few years before deciding to join the military. In 1934, at the young age of 17, the Basilone would end up enlisting in the United States Army, being assigned to the 16th Infantry at Fort J in New York. After his initial enlistment with the Army, John Basilone would eventually decide to join back into the Army and was assigned to the 31st Infantry, where he would be stationed in Manila, Philippines, and in fact earned his nickname Manila John. While being stationed in the Philippines, John would fight as a light heavyweight prize fighter, going undefeated in 19 fights throughout his time being stationed there. After completing his 3 years enlistment, John Basilone would be dishonorably discharged from the Army in 1939, where he would end up working as a truck driver for a few months. In July of 1940, sensing what was coming, John would enlist back into the military, but only this time with the United States Marine Corps. After completing his 13 weeks of basic military training at Paris Island and Specialist School, John Basilone, now a sergeant, would be stationed in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. But following the bombing of Pearl Harbor and America's introduction into World War II in December of 1941. Sergeant Basilone would be headed to the Pacific Campaign as a section leader of Weapons Company attached to the 1st Battalion, 7th Marines. On August 7, 1942, Allied forces, predominantly the United States Marine Corps consisting of the 1st and 2nd Marine Divisions, would launch the first major land offensive against the Empire of Japan in the Pacific Theater, known as the Guadalcanal Campaign, and could name Operation Watchtower. In August of 1942, U.S. Marines with Basilone's battalion landed on the island of Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands and captured Henderson Field, a strategically important airfield from Japanese forces occupying the island, denying them crucial air access and control. Following the next 2 months, only a single U.S. battalion of the 1st Battalion, 7th Marines, commanded by the infamous Lieutenant Colonel Louis B. Pollock, stood between the determined Japanese forces and the strategically important airfield. Sergeant Basilone was in command of an outfit of 16 other Marines, where for the first month he would set up 2 defensive placements into deep and rugged jungles with 4 heavy machine guns, consisting of 2 1917 Browning water-cooled belt-fed machine guns, with the task of defending Henderson Field in the longer area north of the airfield. At 2200 hours or 10 o'clock on the first rainy night of October 24, 1942, Sergeant John Basilone would receive an urgent telephone call from his outpost, reporting that a heavy concentration of Japanese forces was headed directly towards their position. This would be the Japanese last attempt to take the Marines' position and the airfield. Sergeant Basilone faced an intense attack after a call, with machine gun fire, grenades and mortars raining down on his position. Despite losing 2 machine gun positions, he and a few Marines retaliated using Browning belt machine guns. Basilone, witnessing the right flank's trouble, rushed to reposition a 91-pound machine gun with 2 Marines. Along the way, he encountered 9 Japanese soldiers and swiftly eliminated them. Despite heavy enemy fire, they set up the machine gun on the right flank, holding up the relentless Japanese charges. Basilone, amidst constant attacks, managed to repair a damaged machine gun, describing the intense moments in his diary. In the midst of intense firing, a machine in Sergeant John Basilone's machine gun section was wounded. Prompting Basilone to take charge, he ordered Marines to reposition and fired both machine guns, rolling in the mud under the heavy fire, constantly switching guns until they overheated. He then ran through the contested lines, using a Colt 45 and a machete to secure ammunition. Returning, he reloaded and continued firing, reportedly single-handedly killing 38 Japanese soldiers. Private First Class Nash W. Phillips noted Basilone's remarkable 3-day stint without sleep, rest, or food, causing significant trouble for the Japanese forces. Over the next 2 nights, Sergeant Basilone tirelessly distributed ammunition, repelling waves of Japanese soldiers. By morning, as the fighting subsided, reinforcements discovered rows of dead Japanese soldiers opposite Basilone's position, nearly annihilated. The assault on Henderson Field resulted in over 1,000 dead Imperial Japanese soldiers, with hundreds eliminated at Basilone's defensive positions. In October 1942, for his heroic actions, John Basilone was awarded the Medal of Honor by President Franklin D. Roosevelt after a hero's welcome in Raritan, New Jersey. John Basilone toured the US raising funds for the war effort. Despite celebrity status, he felt a duty to return to the battlefield. In December 1943, he gained approval to go back to the Pacific training at Camp Pendleton, where he met his future wife Lena May Reggie. They married on July 10, 1944. Assigned to Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 27th Regiment, 5th Marine Division, Basilone landed on Iwo Jima, held by 20,000 Japanese soldiers, making him a part of the first wave in the intense battle. As the war in the Pacific reached its conclusion, John Basilone faced a new challenge. The desire to serve his country still burned within him, leading him to volunteer for the invasion of Iwo Jima. However, this time, fate was not as kind. On February 19, 1945, during the initial assault on Iwo Jima, John Basilone's life was tragically cut short. He fell while leading his men forward, a hero to the very end. The news of his death reverberated across the nation, leaving a void that could never be filled. John Basilone's legacy lives on, not just in the medals and honors bestowed upon him, but in the hearts of those who remember his sacrifice. Camp Pendleton in California was renamed Camp Horno in his honor, and his story became the inspiration for the HBO miniseries The Pacific. His hometown of Raritan, New Jersey, erected a statue in his memory, immortalizing the local boy who became a national hero. The spirit of John Basilone endures as a reminder of the selflessness and bravery that defined the greatest generation, and so, the tale of John Basilone, the World War II hero, reaches its conclusion. A man of humble origins who rose to the occasion faced in the darkest of days and left an indelible mark on the pages of history. This is the true and amazing story of Gunnery Sergeant John Basilone. Hey guys, I just want to quickly say thank you so much for watching this video. And if you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. And as always, keep learning.